Hello, everyone, and welcome back once more. Um, Universal laws, Wendy, we're going to explore those a little bit, just a high-level view of what they
Mm.
are.
I love that, Sarah. I mean, just before we came on air, you reminded me that you have actually written a book on this and
Yes,
shared with
it
me as
is.
well. But universal laws, there it is.
I did actually say to Wendy, in all fairness, that I wrote this book 2014, I think it is, 2015, something. I wrote it a long time ago. It needs updating with my current understanding has expanded so much, but it's a good basic introduction, a place to start on it all. And
So,
just bear in mind there's more to come.
oh, I can't wait. I can't wait for the next edition. So tell us then, why do you think that it is really valuable for us to be aware of these universal laws? What are they and why do we need to know about them?
The universal laws are really the laws that encompass our entire universal system. They're the laws that pertain within it. Now, everything within the system is energy. We are all energy. Energy builds every structure at some level or others. And the universal laws are the laws in the way energy works within our time matrix. Now, they are split into two sets of laws. So there are the immutable laws and the mutable laws. The immutable laws hold good no matter what dimensional level you're at. The immutable laws are laws you can transform with the growth and expansion of consciousness. So you can move yourself beyond beyond the level of their influence, as it were, as you transform yourself into a fully realized being. So yes, I mean, at the time I wrote that book, I really wasn't plugged into multidimensionality and things like that. So that's one of the many aha moments that have come in since. But the information that's in the book is still good there. It's about understanding which laws are absolutely that. I mean, like a stick of rock, it goes through the universe, through you, through everything, like a stick of rock. The others, if you work hard enough and you understand how they work enough and you're in flow with them enough, you can move beyond them. Now, think of Jesus walking on the water. That's someone who had actually figured out that level of how energy worked and how to actually step beyond the kind of physical laws of our planet, as it were. That's
Sarah, if some of what we think of as immutable laws are actually mutable once we expand our idea of that being possible.
Yeah, because I mean, we have here on the planet, we have the physical laws, we have the physics, the laws of physics, but these are 3D laws. Now we're moving into 4D. What do 4D laws look like? So,
Hmm.
as we move, the kind of laws of physics or physicality may potentially change. I'm not saying they will, but there are certain aspects of it that will change as conditions change from higher frequency to higher frequency. Now, that's where, the mutable laws begin to possibly shift a bit. If you understand them, you can move them. The immutable laws, it doesn't matter where you sit,
They will
still
always be.
hold true. And the first of the immutable laws is one called the law of mentalism. I don't like the word mentalism, but it's what you'll see time and time again put out there. So I've kind of used it, but basically, it says all is mind. Now I think mind is a mistranslation. Because these come from ancient texts. All is consciousness is a better way of saying it. And that is immutable because we are all consciousness. We are all part of source, creator, God, whatever phrase you want to use for that. We come you know, my preferred word is source. So we come from source. We are part of the energy and consciousness of source. You know, a spark of that lies within all of us. And source consciousness is energy that has created this vast network of worlds of which we are one. And it flows through everything, every structure, every energetic structure, every planet, every sun, every plant, every animal. And it doesn't matter where you are, whether you're at the 3D level in this universe, or whether you're in a much higher frequency God world, much nearer to source. Source runs through everything. So the law of mentalism is basically telling us that, and it's absolutely immutable. Whereas when we come on to, you know, something like the law of vibration, which so many people now understand as the law of attraction. The law of attraction is kind of like a subset of the law of vibration. There are elements of that that will possibly move and change as the frequency changes. I mean, think about how our light body changes as we move through frequencies and things like that. It's you know, vibration runs through everything. So because vibration is energy, so there's a level at which you could sort of say, well, that's immutable, and yes, you would be right in doing that. But there's another level at which, when you take it down to the law of attraction, you can begin to shift and move it if you understand how it works.
Okay, so how many...
there's a lot of you've got to really expand your understanding out. There's one called the law of polarity. Now, we live in a polarized time matrix. But our whole purpose for being on this planet, and I don't know if we've really talked about this much, but our whole purpose for being on this planet, the whole purpose of ascension, is that we can bring, first of all, within ourselves, because when we do it within ourselves, it then moves into the greater structures, but it's to bring the polarized aspects of our being together in unity. We've talked about unity consciousness. So the law of polarity is a mutable law, because if we reach the level of consciousness where we can bring ourselves into full unity consciousness, we have transcended the law of polarity. We have fully transcended the law of polarity. It's not just one we're playing about with a bit. We will have fully transcended and brought the, you know, the two broken halves together
into neutrality.
Yeah, and it's what, you know, it's what within a lot of the sort of wisdom teachings, there's talk about, you know, the mother and father energies that come together to create the golden child. That's the golden child.
Okay.
So you know, if you think of you know, masculine energy, feminine energy, very different energies, you bring them together, you weave them together in something called the sacred marriage, and they create the golden child. Which is different again. Yeah.
And so how many laws are there? How many immutable laws? How many mutable laws?
There are 4 immutable laws. The rest of them are mutable. And how many of the rest of them are? Well, I think I've done 12 or 13 within the book. And they're the major laws. There are more you could put in there. But the way to look at them and to understand it was, is this a universal law? Is this a man-made law? And I think I do address that within the book. It's just understanding man-made laws pertain to man-made issues. Universal laws relate to energy and how energy flows and energy creates and energy moves. So if you can pull yourself up far enough and sort of see that this is about energy and the way energy comes together to create structure or to create form or whatever it might be, It's a universal law. If it's about, oh, how do I get a new car?
Yeah.
It's unmade.
I can see actually that there is a lovely synergy or symbiosis, if you like, that comes from having the two. But my sense is that we're probably stymied, contained, restricted by believing that the man-made laws perhaps are more important or easier to access than the universal laws. But it seems to me that being able to operate with an awareness of what the universal laws are, and then making sure that, you know, we're law-abiding citizens on
Yeah.
one, so that, you know, we're not burgling each other's shops and running people over in the street, might be a good fusion of the two, would you say?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, you know, the laws of life around you, you need to fall into line with just to keep them off your back, basically, give you space to do what you're here to do. The universal laws bring you into flow with
Lovely.
life. And once you're in flow with life, you're aligned to yourself, you're in flow, you know, you're going with the current of things.
Mhm.
Basically, your ability to transcend and to make things happen in your life, just you know, so many of the blockages move out your way. Now, are the universal laws easy to master? No, of course they're not, because we wouldn't be blundering around the way we are if they were. But, you know, it starts with awareness. You have to know and understand what they are, or what the main laws are. And once you start to have that awareness and you bring that awareness into daily life and start to look for where you see them represented in life around you, and where you're maybe out of, you know, you're in dissonance with the way these energies flow and move, and you can find ways to bring yourself into resonance with them, you'll find that things get easier. I mean, it's a lovely, when you're in flow, and you know, I fall in and out of it the whole time, but when you're in flow, and again, you know, everyday life is designed to keep knocking you out of it. So be aware of that, and be aware that you will have to just keep falling over and getting back up, dusting yourself off, and you know, and just carrying on time and time and time again. But when you are in flow with it, it's a beautiful feeling.
I can really relate to that. I mean, well, the way I describe getting into alignment, if you like, with the universal laws is that it's very counterintuitive, because of course everything we've been trained to do runs contra to, you know, for example, that law of polarity. I mean, you know, the world wouldn't be at war if we didn't have, you know, if that was easy to understand, we wouldn't be at war. So often that dropping the thing that we feel almost compelled to do and going in the opposite direction often leads us to find our way into those universal laws that could otherwise be difficult to access.
Yeah, and again, often finding a neutral point uh, uh, of of view, as it were, an observer
Yes.
view. So you're looking down on something, and so you can see what's going on, or see the way things are moving, or what isn't working and what is working, and you can move yourself towards what is working. There are different ways of doing it, and and different ways of responding to it, and you know, as many ways as there are people on the planet in some respects, but the fundamentals remain the same. So if you can actually gain an understanding, look at each of the laws, work with each of the laws little by little, see how you see them showing up in life at the larger level and within your own life. And as I say, seeing where maybe things are dissonant, you'll have a much greater understanding of where so much of the construct, the reality fields that we have created and live within, where they're not working, and what we need to do to shift them into something that is more resonant and flows more easily for all of us.
I really think you're onto something here, Sarah. I mean, the way I look at it, it's quite binary. If it doesn't feel good, then maybe take that helicopter view, come back in the stance, become the observer, look at what is playing out from that disassociated position.
Mm.
Because our internal navigation system is very straightforward. It either feels good or it doesn't. And when we go towards things that feel good, and I mean properly feel good, not the ego kind of, oh, I'll have a glass of wine,
Yeah,
that feels
I was going to
good.
say that's the danger of it, is that you're tuning into ego and not.
Yes,
Yeah, once you've got that true north.
that's it. Again, that truth, that feeling of truth, that golden thread that
Yeah,
goes between us. I mean, so, for example, well, an exact example, isn't it? There, I feel like wine would be a good idea. That's the kind of the ego, or this kind of I suppose the trained mind says this is how society relaxes. This is how I'm gonna, like, calm down and feel good, and that will bring me a level of joy while that alcohol hits my blood veins, and and sometimes we think that's it, versus the script and the narrative is you have a glass of wine to relax and have fun, and that's a treat.
yeah,
Actually, the reverse is true. If we really look at it, it's damaging our body, it's taking us out of mindfulness, it's an escapist route, it's probably putting weight on us, it's probably messing around with our hormones. So the truth is something else. And it's not reach for the wine, it's sit and say, what do I really need? And maybe we need a bath.
yeah.
Maybe
What is it in me that wine? I'm reaching for that wine in order to satisfy.
that's it,
Because
exactly.
you keep coming back for the wine, so it doesn't actually really genuinely satisfy whatever that inner need is. Yeah.
Wow, this has been fascinating, Sarah. Thank you so much. I feel like we could talk about this one all day, but becoming
We
the
could maybe another time we could explore one or two of the laws. I mean, that's a potential for maybe some in the future, is just to pick apart one or two of the laws. Mm.
super. And in the meantime, become curious, become the observer, take that helicopter view, notice it showing up in your own life. Somebody said to me once, shining the torch on it, actually seeing it, oh, that's 99% of the way there,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it starts there, because if you're absolutely oblivious and unaware, there's nothing you can do about it. You are never going to gain mastery of something you're unaware of. So awareness is absolutely key. It's the first step of quite a long journey,
I
but
love.
you can't take that first step unless you're aware.
Well, thank you so much for holding that torchlight for us. Thank you for inviting us into that first step. And it's been, as ever, a pleasure to speak to you about it.
Well, thank you, Wendy, and thank you everyone watching, and see you again.